Good evening, everyone. Welcome to class. It's Wednesday, 9 p.m. Brazil time, and it's time for class. Tonight we have a very special topic. If you don't know me, I am Renata. I'm an English teacher. I have been one for the past 15 years, and I'm here to help you take your English from okay to the English that only 2% of Brazilians actually speak. That 2% English that will open any door to your career, to your profession, and your professional dreams. Welcome to class. Hello, hi, Francisco. We have a lot of new people here at Fluent. You know, a lot of new incomers the last few days. Hi, Elton. How are you? How are you doing? Welcome to class. Today we have a very special topic. I am going to share with you what I share with my students, what I tell my students to do to reach the 2% English in relation to something that can be very tricky, conversation activities that may seem like something obvious and easy, and you know, maybe we all know what it means, maybe we all know what conversation activities are supposed to be like, but I'm here to break down my opinion and how I guide my students when it comes to conversation activities, all right? I'm going to give you 4 tips tonight that I hope can help you reach that 2% English, the English that only 2% of Brazilians actually speak, elevated, accurate, and clear-cut English. Welcome, hi Leila, Heitor, welcome, Suelen, Leonardo, good evening Leonardo. I will be flying solo tonight. As you can see here, I am wearing my mic. I hope the quality of the sound is better. This is the Is it working for some people? Is there a problem for everyone with the sound? Or can some people hear me? Leila said she can't. Leonardo said he can't. Can you hear me? Okay. So I don't know what's going on. So let me just use the regular mic here. Can you hear me now? Okay, all right, so I'm not going to use my mic tonight. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's a little bug on Instagram, but anyway. Okay, so let's get started then. I'm not sure if you heard the beginning, if the beginning was messed up or not, but we're going to talk about what to do in terms of conversation activities, the right way and the wrong way to go through conversation activities. And I will share what I share with my students. And we have Denise is here. She can confirm whether or not I'm telling you the truth, right? And anyway, I have a lot of nice things to tell you. And I really hope you can take these lessons into your lives, into your conversation activities. And not only be a different student when you are in them, but also be able to assess, be able to check whether or not the conversation activity that is being offered to you is good or not. You know that feeling when we go to the mechanic and we don't really know what they're doing with our car? I hate that feeling. The other day, the guy at the gas station offered to complete the brake fluid of my car, and I said yes. I immediately Googled it and I realized I shouldn't have said yes. You're not supposed to do that. And I felt, like, oh my God, why didn't I know that? So I want you to have the tools to evaluate, to assess the conversation activities that are being offered to you, to know if they're going to help you or not. All right? So welcome everybody. Hit the like button, please. It helps me a lot. All right? So let's get started then. Number 1. That being said, considering what I have just told you about how important it is for us to know what we're doing and if it's actually going to work. Let's go to number 1, okay? Conversation activities don't teach. What do I mean by that? First of all, what is teaching? Teaching is getting new information and sharing that new information, explaining that new information, and expanding to you, student, expanding how much you know, expanding your basket of knowledge. The goal of conversation activities is not to expand that basket. Maybe you will a little bit, you will learn new vocabulary, because you are practicing, you may hear something new and learn something new, but that's not the main goal. The main goal of a conversation activity is to practice what you have already learned or what you have already initially been exposed to. You had the input and now you're going to use that. Imagine that I was going to get the basket, but I forgot. Imagine you have a basket and you are putting more eggs and bread, I don't know what else, to that basket. Now you have all of those, items in your hand. Now you're going to use them to cook, to make a cake, eat, whatever it is. But if you don't add new items to that basket, your English is not going to change. You won't go to the 2% English only by practicing in conversation activities. You need to refresh your basket of knowledge constantly, and then constantly use that, put that in practice in order to grow, in order to make your English reach the 2%. Remember, we are talking about reaching the 2% English. I'm not talking about maintaining your English. I'm not talking about recycling your English. I'm talking about getting from okay English to the 2% English, to open any door professionally speaking. That's what I'm talking about. So, let me just see if I forgot anything from my notes here. Conversation activities are a door that you open to practice. And practicing is fundamental. It's vital to reach the 2% English. You need to practice. You need to transform what you learned, which is passive, into something active that you can access very quickly and use. Knowing a lot but not using it is not 2% English. It's not the English that we are looking for. So we want to practice, but using conversation classes as the only source to make your English change, to make your English improve, is not going to work. You need to be updating your software, constantly reading, studying new topics, getting input, and then using that input and putting that into practice. All right? So let's consider that conversation activities are amazing, but they don't work alone. They will not work alone to change your English, to make your English better, especially if you don't have time. Do you have time? Do you have a lot of time? Do you have all the time in the world to reach that 2% English? Or are you in kind of a hurry? I imagine that you're in kind of a hurry and you do not have all the time in the world. Leave the questions, any comments, if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, if you feel that, when you are studying, or if you have been taking conversation classes and you don't feel that your English is changing, you don't feel that you're going anywhere, let me know. And also my dear students, if you are watching, if you want to share, how you feel about conversation activities, the way that I'm describing, how I believe they should be done, both from the student's side and from the teacher's side, please leave it in the comments too. Kind of busy, right, Denise? Kind of busy. Your day has 36 hours. I don't know how you do it. Hey, Deborah, welcome. Another dear student coming in. Okay, I think I've said everything that I wanted to say about this first topic. Now, topic number 2. Let's go straight to it. Number 2. Conversation activities can kill I understand but I never use. You know that, I understand a lot. I hear, my listening is great, but my speaking is not so great. I understand a lot, but I never use the words that I understand. Conversation activities can kill that, once and for all. That's the way to go. Why is it so important to have conversation activities? And practice that, speaking. Because something that is as important as teaching is using what you learned in the input phase, where you are reading, studying grammar, learning new topics from a teacher, YouTube, however you choose to get that input, and recalling that input. You can't consider, my opinion, all right? You can't consider that you learned something 100% unless you can actually access that without any tip, without anything or anyone helping you, it comes from you. It's automatic. Somebody asks you something and you automatically respond using an elevated structure, using a modal verb that is, more sophisticated, using a phrasal verb, using something elevated, automatically, not like it's in the question, then I use it in the answer. The topic is this, and then I use it. No, when it comes naturally. And conversation activities, they don't teach much, proportionally speaking. They don't teach much, but they put you in a close to real life, like a simulation of real life that is going to force you to recall what you studied, to improvise, to find your way around and speak, and handle the challenges and handle the situation. Let's say the last step of the process is real life. You are at a meeting, you are somewhere where you really need to speak English and figure out what to do, how to say it, and got distracted by husband here. Don't mind him. But a whole other thing is real life. Not everyone has the chance to go in a meeting and speak English. Maybe that's what you're looking for. So conversation activities can simulate that. So it's very important because you freestyle your English. And let me see what else here. All right. So at the same time that conversation classes alone won't take your English to the 2% English, they are vital to getting there. All right. You need to practice what you studied in order to reach the 2% English. If you have just arrived, leave a little like, hit the heart here, and help me reach more people. Denise said, that's true. Denise is our student. She said, in my case, also the understanding changed. Some things I understand differently now when I see it in series. So the practice, the speaking practice of conversation activities helped you also understand probably the listening and the interpretation of things better. It's amazing. It's how all the abilities are so connected. You know, I don't believe that we should separate and we only learn, you know, pronunciation is only about speaking. We improve our pronunciation, we improve our listening, and everything is interconnected. Neji said, I'm so happy that I can understand what you're saying. Awesome, Neji. Congratulations. Great for you. Great, great. So any questions, any comments, leave them here. I am taking a look to see if there's anything else. But anyway, so that is number 2. Activities can kill that. You know, conversation activities can really take you to that active English, you know, full of choices. I love the English that has or that presents choices. You choose how you want to speak, you know, and that's what conversation activities can do. If they are done the right way, that's what we're going to do now. How should we do conversation activities then? How should they be done? Both from the teacher's side and the student's side, all right? Both have responsibilities there. It's not just one side or the other. So let's see, number 3. What is the third step then? Conversation activities don't take you to the 2% English if they are not aligned with the 2% English. That seems kind of obvious, doesn't it? It seems kind of course, duh, Renata, of course. If one thing is not aligned with the other, it's not going to work. Yes. But how many times have you been in a conversation activity or conversation class talking about gardening when you actually need to improve your English for work? Of course, if that's the only thing you have, that's the only opportunity to practice English that you have, it's better than nothing. I'm not saying that. But I'm always thinking about how little time you have to reach the 2% English and how a method will take you there faster. So for me, and what I tell my students to do and what I actually do in conversation activities that I'm guiding, that I have prepared, is to align the goals. So example, right? I'm going to give you some examples. Having a conversation activity about gardening, shopping, or what you did on your last vacation, when you actually need to communicate, to speak English at a meeting, you know, negotiate with clients, build your website, send emails daily, they don't match. You have to do something about that. And you should ask yourself, is this task that I'm doing right now demanding the English that I need at work? Is it challenging me? Or is it so comfortable, so easy, so simple that it's like I'm talking to friends? You know, I'm not pushing myself. It's so relaxing that it's amazing. It feels like I'm talking to friends. Well, newsflash. That is one tip for you to know that if it's not pushing you into saying something, speaking, using expressions out of your comfort zone, then it may not be taking you. It is not taking you to the next level. If it's too comfortable and too easy, it's not pushing you to the 2% English. We are thinking about the 2% English, right? So that's one tip. What is my task here in this conversation activity? Ask yourself, what do I need to use in terms of structure, vocabulary? Example, all right? If I prepare an activity that asks you all about your opinion on the latest movies out there or Netflix series, we're going to have a great fun activity about Netflix shows, you know, what you think about them, etc. But what is going to come out? What's the outcome? As a teacher, I'm going to think about that. Well, people are going to share their opinion. Probably they're going to be describing things, saying the movie is or was great because that actor is or was. The story tells me about a lot of simple present, a lot of adjectives, but dangerously simple adjectives, not actually professionally related, not related to the workplace. So that's an activity that I'm not gonna ask my students to do, even though it can be super fun. Even though when you leave it, you feel happy that you were able to express ideas in English, talk about your favorite movies in English. But that can be very dangerous. Because I, as a teacher, if I am afraid of losing the student, like, oh, I have to make the class fun. But I forget that I have to make the class fun, but I also have to demand and challenge you to reach the 2% English. So those are the two things that I keep in mind. All right, it's going to be interesting. The topic has to be fun. Yes, but it has to go beyond that. I have to make sure that the class starts off by demanding that the students use something that they're probably not going to use, that is probably not in their comfort zone. So that's one thing you should and you can ask yourself. Is the task similar in any way to my real life challenges, to the challenges that I have at work or that I want to have one day at work, is it or is it not? So, on the other hand, take a look at this. We can talk about Hollywood. We can create a role play about movies, but in a different way. Check this out. What if I get you and someone else, two people or two teams, to negotiate an investment in a Hollywood movie? On one side, there is a team of investors that wants to invest in the movie. On the other side, the team of producers, that wants to find investments for that movie. And you're going to negotiate. I will give you, so you are this kind of person, this kind of company, how much you want to invest. Now you negotiate and you give me your final solution. What did you decide? How much was the deal? How much did you invest? How much did you demand? What were the other demands? And negotiating using professional language. Not, I have this many million and you. No, let's try to use the language of a negotiation, a real negotiation. So it's a completely different story. It's fun, it's still interesting, but it demands something else. That's number 3. So basically we have on the teacher's part of the class, what should be happening so you can evaluate if the conversation activities that you are doing are helping you get to the 2%. I hope this can clarify, and this can make you closer to the mechanic. Like, as I said at the beginning, knowing the mechanic's job and being able to tell if the mechanic is doing a good job or not, if it's helping you or not. And the last tip that I have for you tonight, number 4, is conversation activities. Do your best for you. Conversation activities. Oh, wait. Actually, it's don't do. I forgot the don't. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't. They don't do. I'm even gonna erase this picture, okay? I'm gonna leave my face on the screen. Conversation activities. Don't do your best for you. You can't assume that just by being in the conversation activity, just by listening to your peers, your classmates, or your teacher, that you will be reaching that 2% English. You need to understand that if you don't push yourself, if you don't get out of the comforts of your own comfort zone, no one else will. Personally, I'm always trying to push my students into using certain structures or vocabulary. I help them. I refresh their memory in class, and that's a good thing to do. However, I can't make them use. I can't interrupt them 15 times and say, use this. No, that's too simple. You have to understand that. Like, I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone, use synonyms that I usually don't use those grammar points that are in the back of my head, but I'm a little scared to use. Get out of your comfort zone. Reach that 2% English by getting out of your comfort zone. You're the only one that can get there. You have to walk the path. You have to walk the walk. Teachers open the door, but you must enter by yourself. So remember, the class is there, the stage is there, the task is beautiful, but you have to push yourself and try to do your best. Try to really reach that English that the teacher is asking you to reach. Get to the task and do it beautifully. What else here? Okay. So your growth and evolution is much more in your hands than you might believe, all right? Knowing how to assess a good conversation class, how to separate a good activity from a bad activity, in terms of productivity, in terms of how much time you have, in terms of your goal, all right? It should be very clear. We are talking about a very specific goal here. All right, let's summarize then everything that was said up until now. If you missed the beginning of the live stream, it will be available. You can watch it. Every step has a different color, so you will be able to easily find, where you started, maybe. So in a nutshell, what does that expression mean? Summarizing what was said. In a nutshell, don't expect conversation activities to work miracles. I know a lot of people that think that only having conversation activities or classes with a teacher, private teacher, is going to do the trick. It is not. The best teacher in the world cannot help you evolve, help you change your English if you don't study, if you don't get the input to use in the conversation activity. There's no miracle. Make sure you are getting enough input, fill up that basket and bring it to class. Make sure you use it. Push yourself out of the comfort zone. It's not chit chat. It's not talking to your friends at the bar. It's an activity. It has a goal. It has, at the end of the tunnel, there's something to do. All right? Of course, it can still be fun. It can be very interesting. The topics can be various, can be very unique and fun, but it is still something that is work, right? You're doing that for you have a goal. It's like working out or playing a sport. When you play tennis, you're learning how to play tennis. It's effort, right? You're sweating, but it's still fun and it's still great at the end of the day. Analyze the conversation activity that has been offered to you, wherever it is, however it is, and think whether or not it's aligned with your personal goal. Is it aligned with what I want? I want the 2% English. Am I talking, and I need English for work. Is it aligned with that? Or am I just talking about traveling, vacationing, shopping, gardening, just giving my opinion? I think. It is. Only simple present, only very basic structures. Or is the class demanding that I use more elaborate structures? You can easily make that evaluation. I really hope that from now on you can. From now on, any conversation, any practice opportunity that you have, you can assess that. As I said, it's better to have some than nothing. But if you have a goal, if your goal is to reach that 2% English, you make excellent use of your time and really go to a method. What's your method? Aligned with my 2%. Anything I do has to be aligned with my goal, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? So basically that's what we had for tonight. Yes, be careful, be really careful. What I see is people thinking that conversation activities alone will help them unlock their English, just travar o inglês. But you really need to have the input and the practice and also feedback to see if you are going the right direction. So don't think conversation activities or classes or private classes with conversation based on conversation are going to perform miracles. They are not. You need to have elements put together so everything works in a balanced way, interconnected. all right? And try a million times until it works. Caca crying. Oh, yeah, it's all about practice. It's all about practice. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I really hope this class was helpful. I really hope you can take these lessons into your life and start to see conversation from a different perspective, you know, like from the teacher's perspective and from a method perspective, to really make every minute that you are studying English, that you are practicing your English, count. I know how precious your time is and how little time you have to study English and to dedicate. So let's try to make that time worthwhile. All right? Thank you all so much for coming. Bye-bye. Have an amazing week. Next week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. If you don't know how things work here so much, we have a lot of new people in our Instagram. We have new followers. So if you don't know how we work here, Wednesday, 9 p.m. every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Brazil time for me, 8 p.m. for MC in Canada right now. We'll be here with a new lesson. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Denise. Oh, you rock. You're the best student ever. Bye-bye, Layla. Bye-bye. Let's see who else here. Who came in? Anthony, Ricardo. Bye-bye. Milena, Melissa. Bye-bye, Tia Fatinha. Always a pleasure to have you with us as well. And see you all next week. Bye-bye.